Leandro Trossard, and Martin Odegaard all traveling with the squad, according to reports. The update, shared by a well-known Arsenal insider account, suggests the trio are in contention for involvement, although their inclusion in the final matchday squad will only be confirmed later this evening. For Mikel Arteta, their presence alone is encouraging. Saka had initially targeted a return later this month, but appears to have progressed ahead of schedule after missing 4 matches since the defeat to Manchester United. Odegaard has sat out the last 2 games, while Trossard featured in the previous outing before being withdrawn. Whether all 3 are fit enough to start remains uncertain. However, there are still setbacks. Max Daumann and Mikel Merino remain unavailable, with the latter expected to face a lengthy spell on the sidelines. There are also fresh concerns surrounding Kai Havertz, who is reportedly dealing with a muscular issue sustained in training, an injury that could rule him out. For several matches, Arsenal's form this season has been strong, but the title race leaves little room for error. With Manchester City keeping pace after their midweek win, the Gunners know victory is essential to maintain breathing space at the top. With 13 league fixtures remaining, each game carries enormous weight. Brentford, meanwhile, present a formidable challenge. They have been particularly impressive in recent weeks, collecting notable victories and showing resilience at home. Igor Thiago has emerged as a standout performer, registering 17 goals this campaign and boasting one of the league's best conversion rates. His physical presence and relentless pressing make him a constant threat inside the box. The Bees are not solely reliant on Thiago. They operate with a direct percentage-based style that has proven effective. No Premier League side plays more long balls, yet their approach is purposeful and often dangerous. Set pieces are another major weapon, with Michael Keogh's long throws creating additional problems for opposing defenses. Tactically, Brentford have demonstrated flexibility, switching formations when needed. They have alternated between a back 5 and a 4-2-3-1 system, the latter allowing their wide players to exploit space with pace. Their attacking output underlines their threat, ranking among the league's leaders in creating clear-cut chances. Defensively, though, there are vulnerabilities. Brentford have struggled for clean sheets at home, suggesting opportunities could arise for Arsenal if they apply sustained pressure. In terms of availability, Brentford will be without Kevin Shade, who continues his suspension, while Reiss Nelson is ineligible. Former Arsenal midfielder Josh Da Silva remains sidelined through injury, and both Fabio Carvalho and Anthony Milambo are ruled out for the season. Should Havertz and Odegaard miss out, Arteta may need to rethink his attacking setup. With Saka only just returning to contention, creative responsibility could fall on younger shoulders. Arsenal's depth will be tested, and this fixture could reveal much about their resilience in the closing stretch of the campaign. Real Madrid are reportedly preparing to move for one of Arsenal's transfer targets should Fran Garcia leave the club this summer. Garcia's situation at the Bernabeu remains uncertain. The Spanish left-back came close to joining Bournemouth on loan in January, only for Madrid to halt the deal at the final moment. The decision is said to have frustrated the 26-year-old, who had been open to the switch and is still believed to be considering his options ahead of the next transfer window. If Garcia does depart, Madrid are expected to enter the market for a replacement, and Borussia Dortmund defender Daniel Svensson has emerged as a leading candidate. Reports in Spain suggest the Bundesliga side would demand around $30 million for the versatile 24-year-old. Primarily a left-back, Svensson is also capable of operating in midfield, a trait that would suit Madrid's tactical flexibility. Since arriving in Germany last summer, he has become a regular fixture in Dortmund's lineup, contributing goals and assists across competitions. His form has not gone unnoticed, with Arsenal, Leeds United, and Inter Milan all monitoring his progress. With 3 years remaining on his contract, Dortmund are under no pressure to sell, but the lure of the Spanish capital could prove persuasive. Garcia may not be the only fullback heading for the exit. Ferland Mendy's future is also under scrutiny after another injury-hit campaign. Although his contract runs until 2028, concerns over his fitness record could prompt Madrid to consider offers. Alvaro Carreras has remained relatively reliable in terms of availability, but the club appear keen to strengthen regardless. A broader squad refresh could also be on the horizon. Senior figures such as Dani Carvajal, Antonio Rudiger, and David Alaba are approaching uncertain crossroads as Madrid assess their long-term plans. From an Arsenal perspective, the wider football landscape hasn't exactly delivered much cheer. Results elsewhere have tightened the margins in the title race, and managerial upheaval at rivals only adds another unpredictable twist. The dreaded new manager bounce is never welcome, especially when it seems to arrive at the most inconvenient times. More concerning for Mikel Arteta, however, is the injury situation at his own club. Kai Havertz is reportedly set for a spell on the sidelines after suffering a muscular problem just as he was regaining rhythm. His return had coincided with some dominant displays, making the setback all the more frustrating. Ironically, Havertz had rarely struggled with injuries earlier in his career, but his time under Arteta has been punctuated by untimely disruptions. Only weeks ago, Arsenal looked close to having a full squad available. Now, there's a genuine possibility that several key attacking players could miss the trip to Brentford. Arteta remained coy when asked about Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka, offering only a "we'll see," which suggests late fitness assessments will determine their involvement. If Leandro Trossard is fit and Odegaard remains a doubt, Arsenal may need to reshuffle creatively for the Brentford clash. Squad depth and adaptability could once again define how they navigate yet another pivotal moment in their campaign. If you had tuned into Mikel Arteta's press conference without context, you might have assumed he was applying for a role at Brentford rather than preparing to face them. The Arsenal manager was glowing in his assessment of the West London club, speaking with genuine admiration ahead of tonight's clash. Many predicted a difficult campaign for the Bees after they sold captain Christian Nørgaard to Arsenal, aloud. Brian Mbeumo to join Manchester United and saw head coach Thomas Frank depart for Spurs. Yet instead of slipping backwards, Brentford have continued to progress, promoting Keith Andrews from set-piece specialist to manager, and once again recruiting shrewdly. They have cemented their reputation as one of the league's most stable and intelligently run outfits. You could argue Arteta's praise is strategic, an attempt to soften the tone before kickoff, but it's hard to dispute the impressive structure put in place under owner Matthew Benham. His data-led philosophy has long been admired in football circles, and Brentford's consistent growth only strengthens that reputation. Speaking in the embargoed section of his press conference, Arteta explained why he often looks towards Brentford when adding to his own staff or squad. On why he recruits from Brentford so frequently, he described them as one of Europe's best-managed clubs, highlighting their intelligent processes, smart hiring, and clear long-term planning. According to Arteta, sustained success at that level is no accident. When a club consistently makes strong decisions, it becomes a natural place to look for expertise that can elevate your own organization. On whether Arsenal have learned from Brentford's structure, Arteta pointed to their recruitment strategy, timing in the market, and willingness to make bold calls, such as shutting down their academy in 2016, as examples of forward-thinking leadership. He noted that studying those decisions and understanding their reasoning offers valuable insight into how modern clubs can evolve. On Brentford, thriving despite major departures. For Arteta, their continued improvement after losing key players, and their manager speaks volumes about their foundations. He suggested that such resilience reflects a strong culture, clarity in playing identity, and a deeply embedded understanding of how they want to win matches. On striker Igor Thiago, rather than focusing solely on the forward, Arteta emphasized that Brentford's success is collective. While Thiago is enjoying an outstanding season, he stressed that several players are performing at a high level, evidence of a system that maximizes individual strengths. On Keith Andrews' rise from set-piece coach to head coach, and whether he fears losing Arsenal's own specialist Nico Jover in similar fashion. Arteta framed it as a personal ambition issue. Career direction, he explained, ultimately depends on the individual and what path they wish to pursue. On former Brentford goalkeeper David Raya and his development at Arsenal, Arteta suggested Raya hasn't altered his training dramatically, but has grown alongside the team. Adapting to a club of Arsenal's stature takes time, especially when competing with a respected figure like Aaron Ramsdale. Confidence and clarity in one's role, he noted, develop gradually. However, he felt Raya made a swift impact and has continued to evolve as the team's tactical demands have increased. Whether Arteta's admiration is purely sincere or partly piece,